Okay, we are covering the third passage on the ACT Enhanced Science. And science is optional, remember, on the enhanced version. And so this is a research, our DRC approach. Research means read, not carefully read, but know the difference. I'm going to turn on two tools, our answer eliminator and our highlighter. And the reason we know it's research is you're comparing experiments. Experiment 1, and you have another experiment, experiment 2 on this one. So 2 experiments. So we know it's research. You want to briefly understand the difference between the 2 experiments. So they have clownfish and they have 12 identical 15-liter tanks filled with 10 liters of water. They're fed different diets, and the average SGR is specific growth rate. And then the second experiment, experiment 2, procedures of experiment 1 were repeated. So experiment 1 repeated, except that fish were kept at a different stocking density. So different type numbers of fish per tank, and they're fed diet T. And that's it. You can go to the questions. So I'm going to clear my highlights. Which of the following statements about the relationship between the number of fish per tank and the average SGR is consistent with the results of the experiment? On at experiment 2. So let's make sure we're looking at a particular experiment. Experiment 2 here. As on average, as the number of Apercola fish per tank increased, the average SGR did what? So the stocking density at experiment 2 goes from 0.5 and it goes to 0.3. And so as it does that, it looks like the average SGR decreases. So decreases only. So our answer is B. All right, the following table gives the percent of protein in each of the 4 diets. So that's new information. Which of the following statements about percent protein in each diet and the average SGR is consistent with the data shown in table 1? Results for experiment 1, not table 1. Okay, so we're going to use process of elimination here, go through the answers. Move my highlighter tool. The highest average SGR also had the highest protein percent. Okay, so highest SGR is S. Is that the highest protein percent? No, because the highest protein percent is Q, so that's not the highest protein percent. So we're eliminating that one. Okay. The highest average SGR again is S, had the lowest protein percent. Lowest is T, so no, that's not true either. So eliminate B. Okay. Lowest average SGR, that's Q, also had the highest percent protein. Okay, yep, that's Q, so that one's going to be correct. So our answer is C. Based on the results of experiment 1, if experiment 2 were repeated, so we're repeating experiment 2, except that all the fish were fed diet R. Okay, so experiment 2, they were fed diet T. Okay, they're fed diet T in experiment 2. Would the average SGR most likely have been lower or higher for each group? Okay, so let's see. Let's look at our questions. Lower on average, Apercola, the fish had an SGR 0.5% less than those fed T. So I think we need to look back at the table 1. Okay, those fed diet R has 0.4, is 0.05 less than diet T. Nope, diet R is greater than diet T, so we can eliminate that. So it's process of elimination. All right, let's do, on average, those fed diet R had 10% less. No, it's not less, it's more, so it's not that one. Higher, those fed diet R had 0.05% greater than diet T. That is true, so our answer has to be C. Suppose, we just got to think a little bit, that in the experiment, 1 gram of food were added to each tank, I'll highlight that, at each feeding. How many grams of food would have been placed into an individual tank each day? Okay, so 1 gram, they were fed 3 times a day, and doesn't matter how many tanks it were because we're adding to 1 tank. So 1 gram times 3 is 3, so your answer has to be B. 1 gram each tank. Yeah, B. How many fish were placed in the tanks in experiment 1? Okay. Experiment 1, we have 12 identical 15-liter tanks, each receiving 10 liters of water. Okay, so let's highlight that again. Similar fish were selected and measured. They were equally distributed among the tanks at a stocking density of 1 fish per liter. So we're looking at, we're placed in each of the tanks. So just 1 tank, not total. So 1 tank has 10 liters of water, and there's 1 fish per liter. So that's going to be 10 fish per tank. So your answer has to be C. And number 17, last one in this group, which of the following was a dependent variable? Okay, so the thing that's being measured, what are they measuring? So they're measuring the average SGR, the thing that changes based on what you do to it. So the SGR is the specific growth rate. So the SGR is the dependent variable based on what other things change. It impacts the SGR, so B. Okay, so let's review our answers. 12 is B, 13 is C, 14 is C, 15 is B, 16 is C, and 17 is B. So I double checked my answers, and so these are all correct. Reach out if you have any questions.